Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com. You're listening to Mornings of Lone Star here at Lone Star Community Radio. It is the 31st of May. That means this weekend is the anime experience with KimoKawaii. If you missed my interview with the folks who are putting that on earlier this week, I have another special guest. We have an actual voice actress on the line with me. We have Alyson Leigh Rosenfeld. All her links and all her stuff for her, if you want to know who she is, I put those in the description, or I put them on our website, all that kind of stuff. Also, she is all over the place with cool shows. So, Alyson, are you there?
I am. Thanks so much for having me.
I'm really excited. It's really weird talking to you because I looked at your reel, and then I've kind of probably have seen a couple of those shows you're in. And because I do have 16 nieces and nephews, and they all have different tastes. And it's kind of amazing what you do with your voice. And people are kind of wondering, like, what he just said, KimoKawaii. Like, what the hell is he talking about? If people don't know what I'm talking about, I'm talking to Alyson, who is I would call a voice actress, but there probably is a better term for it. But she's going to be at the Lone Star Convention Center this weekend with the KimoKawaii, I would call festival, but it's an anime experience and convention right here in Conroe. I put links to get tickets, and she's going to be there. She's one of the, I guess you call them guests. If you're not a convention person, or what do they call it, like Comic-Cons or those kind of things, they have guests there that you get to meet, and they're kind of famous. So you're Polly Pocket famous. That's a big deal.
Which is ironic, because I'd say I'm a little bit famous, and Polly Pocket famously is quite small.
Yes, there you go. Oh, I love it. I love it. And so Alyson is a voice actress or a voice talent, and you put your voice on all sorts of cartoons and all sorts of other things, too. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about how did you get into that business, and it seems like you're all over the place with it.
So if you ask my mother, I came out of the womb singing. I've always been a performer my whole life. I grew up doing musical theater, and I knew I always wanted to pursue acting. I never had a plan B. So I auditioned for and very fortunately got into NYU Tisch for acting for college. And my senior year, I studied at Stone Street, which was the film and TV studio at Tisch. And I took a voiceover class. And I absolutely loved it. My teacher, Karen Braga, was incredibly encouraging and said, I really think you should record a demo and send it around and see what happens. I think you could really work in voiceover. And very fortunately, she was right. I started sending my demo around. One of the first jobs that I booked was this very random audiobook series that I was recording in Princeton, New Jersey. But it so happened that one of the other actors on this gig was Tom Wayland, who was the director of Pokemon at the time. He liked what I was doing. He had a part he needed to cast that week. He asked if I could audition for it, and I did. And very fortunately, I booked it. And that kind of was the start to my career in animation voiceover.
Yeah, because one thing that I love production and production of cartoons. I call them cartoons, but anime cartoons. There's so many people involved that no one really realizes how many people it really takes to put on this stuff, especially with you, because you played several parts. For example, most people know what Pokemon is, Pokemon the cartoon. Yeah. It's been on forever, I feel like, and you play, like I saw you on your reel, you were Nurse Joy, and I'm like, whoa, that's awesome. That is awesome right there.
My cred, like even if you watched the show 25 years ago when it first started, you know Nurse Joy. So even if you don't know, who I played in later seasons, kiddos or creatures or whatever, you've heard of Nurse Joy, and people think that's pretty cool.
I know, really, it got my ears went up, and I was like, oh, see, that's pretty cool. If you told me that, I'd be like, wow, okay, you're awesome. But I also, with that in mind, it's kind of like, when you meet like at the convention at the KimoKawaii, you're going to be there, so you're going to be signing autographs and things like that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah. So when people come up to you, they gotta be coming from all angles because you're in so many different things.
It's true. There are people who, exclusively know me from Pokemon. There are people who love Yu-Gi-Oh! There are people who love Strawberry Shortcake or Polly Pocket. But then I always love the people who have like a really specific small credit that they love me from. Like, whether it's an anime movie that I did a long time ago that most people don't ask me about, or there's a very fierce loyalty to the Winx Club. Like there's all kinds of stuff that people are really, really love and get very excited about meeting me for. And it's always exciting when it's something that I don't typically get asked about.
Yeah, because there's people should look her up, guys. You need to look up Alyson because she's been doing it for a good bit, and especially it's all over the place. Because it looks like you're doing boys' cartoons, girls' cartoons, both cartoons. Because if people didn't know, when growing up, I know like I had the boys' cartoons,
I'd argue all cartoons are for everybody, but maybe that's just me.
Well, like for example, I was telling them on Wednesday, like Ronin Warriors was my cartoon, and it was more boy driven because it was all guys and they all wore armor and they killed things.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and another show I liked was Tenchi Muyo, and I was like that. I felt like that was a guy show because it's about a guy having like 10 women after him, and that show was ridiculous. But yeah, and then like Pokemon came and everyone loved Pokemon, and I love Pokemon. And then now, I mean, I don't really know where cartoons are today because Strawberry Shortcake, I feel like was a doll a long time ago, and then they made it into a cartoon.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with Polly Pocket. But
Yeah.
to be honest, that's the same thing with like Transformers. They wanted to sell the toys, so they made a cartoon.
Yeah.
It's really similar across the way. And I'd say, to be honest, something like Pokemon, I think it's pretty evenly split between, guy and gal.
Oh yeah, totally.
And everywhere in between.
Oh, that's
fans.
when I realized like, oh, we can have the same likes. Cause
exactly.
And but then I think that's going forward with you guys, like with your career. Is it something that is like, oh, I want to do, I just want to work, or is there like a specific show you'd love to just be a voice? Because one of my favorite voiceover jokes is the George Clooney on South Park.
Oh yeah, that was such a great bit.
Like that, like I still don't even believe it's real. And if people don't know what I'm talking about, George Clooney was a big fan of South Park right when it started, and no one really knew what South Park was. So they finally got a famous person to do a part in the cartoon, and all they made him do, he was either a turkey or a dog.
Yeah, he was a turkey. No, he was. Oh no, wait, no, you're right. He was the dog, not the turkey.
Yeah, and it was literally he just barked. That's all he did. It was, you had no idea it was George Clooney, and it like I'm sitting there going like, that is the funniest thing. And I can't imagine the phone conversation with him. Like, okay, we're gonna waste your whole day because you're coming in for one thing, and you're just gonna bark. So, is there anything like that in your mind? Like, oh, I just want to be able to tell people because you've already been in with so many iconic characters.
I think my answer is both. Like, I feel extremely fortunate that I am able to say I'm a full-time voice actor because, even among my colleagues, it's a rarity, especially, in this day and age. It is a wild world out here for voiceover. But I would say that I feel like in my mind, the Mount Everest, if you will, of voiceover for me would be being in a Disney animated feature. I think, I grew up with the old school Disney princesses, Ariel and Belle, and that has always been, it really is what inspired me to do what I do. So I think for me, that would be like the greatest, achievement in voiceover for me eventually.
So basically, what it sounds to me like a Disney princess movie. That's what it sounds.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be princess.
Hey, we're shooting for the moon here.
Yeah, Alyson, in my dream of all dreams, that would be what it is.
And let me guess, you would be like the talking lobster.
Yeah, totally. I've always dreamed of being a talking lobster.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's what I love about those kind of things. Cause it's like, oh, I finally get to do a Disney movie, and they're like, oh, hey, by the way, this Disney movie is about, the body, so you're gonna be Snot. Oh, great! That's so exciting. I want to be Snot. I'm pretty sure that's actually a role in a Disney movie. It was an Inside Out. I want to say it was one of those movies, but and that's still animation though. By the way, the computer stuff. That's still animation.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And that's amazing. It's kind of like, and that's one thing I always loved when I was looking at your reel. It was just so surprising how your voice is unique. It's kind of strange because I would never pay attention to Polly Pocket, right? If it was on, my like nieces watching, I'd be like, "Oh, cool, Polly Pocket," and then I'd walk on with my day. But now that I know you, I'm like, "Oh, I know that girl. I know I talked to her." But are you currently doing anything right now that you want to talk about?
This NDA life is really crazy. I can say that I am on the new season of Pokemon, the new series of Pokemon that is currently airing on Netflix. I have a lot of other projects in the works that I am not allowed to talk about, but I am very active on social media. I always announce things on my website and on Instagram and TikTok and everything. So whenever I am allowed to announce new projects, I always do.
Okay, hold on. Hey, now, okay, Pokemon. I want to say it ended because like Ash did something. He retired or whatever it was. So now they have a
correct. Yeah. So Ash ended his journey. He became a master, if you will, and now there's a whole new set of kiddos that we are following on their journey to become great Pokemon trainers.
And it's on Netflix.
On Netflix. Yeah.
Okay. So if you have kids, check it out. Right. That's what we're telling people.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very very family friendly.
Yes. Good. All right. I just wanted to make sure people understood that. And because when you're out of that world, you have no idea what's going on. Like, because I remember, what was it, like a year ago when I read that Ash finally retired or became a master. I was like, I feel like he did that a long time ago.
I know a lot of people thought that, but no, it was a long time coming.
Okay, well, I don't know. Well, I guess it's like because you play the game, you're basically Ash in the game, so it's like, but I love it. And, would you ever do games like video games?
Oh, I voice a lot of video games.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Because I didn't.
You just needed to scroll down on my website.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to see you had your demo reel, and I was like, all right, let's see what this lady's all about. And then I went to your IMDb. I didn't even see that on IMDb. I guess IMDb.
Oh yeah, tons of video games. Yeah.
Well,
I just had my debut in Genshin Impact. I'm in a bunch of the Pathfinder video games, a bunch of the Pokemon video games. Yeah, lots of video games.
Because I'm looking, because where is it? Does it have video games on here?
On the voiceover page on my website, if you go to the bottom, they call it an interactive demo, which is all video games.
I'm on IMDb because that's like my go-to website.
Gotcha.
But you never know if it's real or not. But yeah, no, it's really cool. Like especially like in Mobile Suit Gundam, I think that's that's another classic show. And but yeah, okay, cool. Okay, here it is, video game. Got it. That's so crazy. I think it's so crazy what you do, just because of the randomness. Like someone will call you like, "Hey, I listened to Polly Pocket. Think you're great. Will you play this dragon?"
Yeah, it's funny. My son, over the dinner table, I have a 4-year-old, and we'll ask each other how our day was, and I usually will be like, he'll say, "Mommy, what weird thing were you today? What were you pretending to be today?" And I always have a funny answer. I'm like, "Oh, today I was a panda who couldn't sneeze."
Yeah, no, it's always it is like
a whack thing.
It's so cool, and that's why I'm kind of excited to see what you do in the future. And I want to remind people that you can meet Alyson in person at KimoKawaii this weekend. I believe it's June 2nd. And 1st. So 1st and 2nd. So that's Saturday and Sunday. You're going to be there both days?
I will be there both days. I'm going to have Pokemon cards and Funko Pops and prints and Pikachu plushies and Pokeballs. Lots of fun stuff to sign for people. And I think there's going to be some fun voice actor panels as well. It should be a really great time. Yeah.
And Alyson, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to talk to me, to a person who clearly has no idea what he's talking about.
Oh, it's my pleasure. You did your research. You were great.
Well, I mean, it was something that it was so disconnected. That's what I was telling the guy. I was telling Chris and them before. I was like, I used to be really into this stuff, like just all the way in, like especially like Pokemon, the game, and then anime. Because I told him a story about back in the day they didn't have like Adult Swim. or
Yeah.
anything like that. And the only time there was like, I think it was either like, it was before Pokemon was a cartoon. They still had anime, but it was on at like 5:30 in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
And my mother hated it because I would like wake up and just watch my cartoons at 5:30 in the morning.
And now they're so much more mainstream, and there's so many more ways to watch them.
Yeah, I told him the story about Road Warriors was my jam, and I wanted the toys. But you can never, like, you don't buy those. They don't sell them at Toys R Us because no one knew what Road Warriors was. And so she found them. She got them imported. And like, I was like,
That's awesome.
And I was like, but today you just go to KimoKawaii.
That's right, and you're going to find them front and center.
Right there. So, and I think that's so cool, especially the stores. Everything's so readily available. And I was telling Chris, I was like, I wish I had that community because I felt like I was the only one that watched anime. Like at school.
It's one of my favorite things about Comic-Cons in general is it is a place where everyone is accepted, everyone is part of the community. You know, just no matter what you're a fan of and whether you're neurotypical or neurodivergent, like it is just welcoming and loving and inclusive. And it's one of my favorite things about being at Comic-Cons is just seeing the community of everybody there. It's really wonderful.
Yeah, I encourage everyone to come check out KimoKawaii. It's family friendly and there's something there for everyone. That's for dang sure. And yeah, well, Alyson, thank you so much. It's so cool what you do, and
thank you so much.
I wish you luck going forward and getting that Disney princess movie. You know, and I hope you're played like the sidekick, not the princess, because we don't want to make you don't want to reach the top. You always want to keep going for the top, right?
True. You always want to keep reaching. Yeah, I hear you. Thank you.
Well, technically what you could do is learn like 5 languages and hopefully do the princess in another language. Does that count?
That's a good goal. Yeah, for sure.
That counts, right? I mean,
yeah.
I love it. Well, Alyson, you will be there, and people need to go to visit the website to get your tickets for KimoKawaii. Also, I have website links for Alyson. You can check out all the cool stuff she's doing. It is amazing work and very talented, very talented. And it sounds like your daughter's in for. Did you say your daughter right? You have a daughter, 4-year-old daughter,
son,
4-year-old son. That's gotta be wild. And
yeah,
he was probably gonna get into your work too. So good luck to him because he's gonna copy mommy. You know, I gotta make weird voices too. And I love it. Well, have a good day, Alyson, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to meeting everybody there.
All right, guys. Well, you've been listening to Mornings with Lone Star. That was Alyson Leigh. Oh, my God. Let me get the full name. I apologize. Alyson Leigh Rosenfeld. She is a voice actress who's going to be at KimoKawaii this weekend. That's June 1st and 2nd. Get your tickets at the link below or visit their website at KimoKawaii.net. That's KimoKawaii.net, KimoKawaii. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. We're going to get back to the music. You're listening to Lone Star Community Radio.